Now, she's already won many classical piano awards, but this year, 12-year-old Singaporean student Hilary O'Sullivan did something very special. She went on a 10-day climate expedition to the Antarctic, where she awed an audience with a specially composed piece on climate change.
Hilary joins us live in the studio now. Hilary, you're 12 years old, but you've been essentially a child prodigy on the piano since you were 3. I looked at your YouTube channel before we came on. You've been playing for a very long time. But how did you get the attention of the organizers of this expedition so that they reached out to you, as it were?
Thank you for having me today. Michael, the producer, saw some of the recitals that I gave to the Indonesian islands and in Manado. That was in 2019 and 2020 when I was 8 years old and 9 years old. He saw that those videos and he invited me to go on the Antarctic Climate Expedition. I played the Antarctic Rhapsody by Bettens that was composed specially for the trip.
You know, Hilary, you've seen things that many haven't and may never see in their lifetime. So when you look back at the trip, what story stands out to you the most in the things you saw and learned?
I learned a lot, and I saw a lot with the dynamic ecosystem of Antarctica. But one thing that stood out to me was learning that recycling wasn't the solution and that the ocean gives us half of the oxygen that we breathe. Some of the fun things that we did was the polar plunge, even though I didn't do it, but I watched other people do it.
Was it too cold?
I thought it was going to be really cold, but quite a lot of people did it, and we were in our swimming, well, they were in their swimming costumes, and they jumped into the ocean for like a few seconds, and then they went out because it was really cold. And we also went dry suit snorkeling. I gave up after one time because it was too hard, but it was really fun while we were in the water because it wasn't as cold as I expected it to be.
Well, you have spoken about not just your passion for piano playing, but also your interest in, for example, not just recycling, but going to the root of the problem, right? There must have been a reason why they chose you to combine your passion for music with this clearly climate crisis-oriented type of question. When you play the piano, are you thinking about climate issues? Does that change how you play, how you feel when you play?
The piano piece was pretty difficult, but I think that the thing that gave it the most emotion was thinking about the climate change happening right now, like as we speak. During Antarctica, I saw calving icebergs and orphan penguins because their parents had died. I also heard about big commercial fishing ships that hunted for krill so that the seals and the penguins didn't have their food and they die. I think that impacted how I played the piece because it was really special that it got composed just for the expedition.
That's a really good answer. I also want to ask you, if you were to inspire other kids your age, even younger, to do the same thing or to do something similar, how would you tell them, how would you advise them in the way you prepared for the trip and in the way you balanced that with still going to school?
I think my teacher was really understanding because she gave me things to do so I could still do my schoolwork while on the trip.
Can't get away from school.
Yeah. I prepared by practicing the piece. I conducted interviews, so I got the questions ready and who I was going to interview. I think that if you were to go to Antarctica, you need to be prepared with like the equipment.
Yeah.
Because if you're going to go snorkeling, it's going to be really cold if you don't have the right equipment. And you should learn about what's happening right now in Antarctica before you actually go, so you know what's going to happen around you.
So
That
always
probably
be
applies to
prepared.
everything in life, right? Thanks so much for joining us. Pianist Hilary O'Sullivan, who was on the Antarctic Climate Expedition.